All right, all right. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's Talk It Out Tuesday. Hope you had a great day. I really hope that you have. We're in the week of the DNC, so if you clicked on and you saw the title, you know we will be talking about that today. Come on in here, come on in here, come on in the room. I want to thank you all for joining us. I want you to go ahead and comment where you are from. Let me know where you're from. I'm from Flowtown. I've got a couple special guests who will be coming in, and you know my girl Tori is going to be in the house. Yes, she is. And what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the DNC day one. So if you've been watching, I want to know what you've been thinking. We're going to talk about it, some of the takeaways. We're going to talk about some of the things that you like, whatever you think is going on. All right. So that's what we're going to do. Got some special guests who are going to be coming in here. I've got Anthony Hall from the Florence, South Carolina Democracy Center. He's going to be in here a little later. I also have a poet in the house with us. They call him Poet JT. All right. So I got James Thompson, who is going to be in the house with us today. All right. So listen, y'all. You know how it goes down. It's Talk It Out Tuesday. We're going to talk a little bit about life. We're going to talk a little bit about people, and we're going to talk a little bit about politics. All right. I'm going to bring Tori on in here because you know I need to. We're going to go ahead and get a little faith. Tori, what's going on with you?
What is up? What is up? It's been a week already. Listen,
How does it happen so
I got
fast?
a text yesterday. Yeah, I got a text yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it said, "Tori, because you know I had been, like you guys been staying on abreast of things, and I had been watching. I got a text yesterday, and it said, Tori, make sure you're watching the convention Monday through Thursday."
Mm-hmm.
My response was, I'm not gonna probably watch. I'm not gonna watch. Because the political stuff sometimes can get a little messy. And then
Mm-hmm.
I start seeing people posting about them honoring Jesse Jackson. So that piqued my
Mm-hmm.
interest. So guess what?
Okay.
I start watching.
I didn't know where you were going with this. I just had to hold tight and listen because you know that's a skill. But I did not expect you to say that you were actually watching. What? You don't
Yeah,
watch a
I
little bit of the
watched it. I watched.
DNC?
Now listen, I fell asleep on Joe Biden. Joe Biden's speech was phenomenal, but I fell asleep.
Well, I mean, it was many hours, so I really understand. But it was incredible the way they honored him. Did you just hear the room and just that was kind of touching? How did you feel about that? Because you could see like how emotional he was, and to be honest, anywhere the camera panned, you could just see the emotion of people. It was a little, little touchy feely, pull on your heartstrings a little bit.
It really was.
Mhm.
It really was. It was beautiful.
It
It was
was
beautiful.
he deserved it. He deserved it. He deserved it. And I tell you what, I had a couple. Well, you did say that you watched. So besides, yeah, Jesse Jackson, when Jesse Jackson came out, that was really a big thing. It was nice for them to bring him out and to be able to see him. He was very emotional, as you could see. It was just a lot of feelings in the room. Yeah.
Right. So I actually, because I already knew you was gonna ask, and that's why I had to prepare myself. My brother, my son was like, "You prepared to that?"
Did
I wrote some of my highlights down. So because I already know you was gonna ask me, so we'll get into that later. I'll answer that question when you ask me because I wrote down some highlights that stuck
okay.
out to me.
Well, good, because I was curious. There were a couple. Um, well, this is the DNC, so it was pretty much what I expected. Most of these conventions. I watched the Republican convention as well. I mean, it was a little bit more. It was a little crazy, a little bit, but that's just a matter of opinion. But I watched. I watched it just the same. But with this one, like most conventions, everyone come on, they read their speeches, they do their little spill, they do what they do. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of it. So, well, what can I say? But There were a few that, they felt really authentic. So I had two that just really stuck out for me. And one of the first ones was Jasmine Crockett. Did you like her speech? Yeah.
Yes. She was one of the ones that stuck out for me too. There were two that really stuck out. I wrote a list, but she was one of the two that really stuck out for me.
Yeah, she got me. In fact, I want to play a little bit. I want to pull a clip for a piece that kind of stuck out for me as well, if you don't mind.
For our official photo, she turned to me and asked, "What's wrong?" Mind you, we'd never met. But she said, as I approached Vice President Harris for our official photo, she turned to me and asked, "What's wrong?" Mind you, we'd never met. But she saw right through me. She saw the distress. It's so hard for me to tell this story. She then said, among other things, "You are exactly where God wants you. Your district chose you because they believe in you, and so do I." The next month, I went viral for the first of many times to come for hitting Republicans with a dose of their own medicine.
Listen, that was real. That was really real. It was very authentic. I mean, like I said, everybody has their speeches ready. They're typically reading off of the teleprompter, and they do a good job, and it can be a good speech. They can have good speech writers, but something about that was so real, and it connected. She's one of those very special ones. I see her as one of the ones, as definitely the baton is being handed over right now. We watching a generational shift, and she's coming up next. What you think?
There must be a delay because it's like I hear you and then it stops. So if there's a delay, I
Mhm.
apologize. But I think the speech was amazing. Of course, the part that I wrote down that stuck out to me was when she said, and I
Mhm.
quote, "Vindictive, vile villain, violate the voters' vision." I was like, girl,
Okay. She came out with the beat.
this stuck out to me. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, she did it before when she got on Marjorie, and she came out with those B's, and now she on the V's with Trump. So listen,
Yeah.
I know everybody's paid attention to that. So who knows? There's probably T-shirts for that as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Another, I want to play one more clip. Somebody else who I felt like, you know, very authentic. Whether she was reading off the teleprompter or not, you felt what she had to say. I felt like people could relate to her. And I'm gonna play a little bit here.
I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life. The truth is, Don, you cannot love this country if you only fight for the wealthy and big business. To love this country is to fight for its people, all people, working people, everyday Americans like bartenders and factory workers and fast food cashiers who punch a clock and are on their feet all day in some of the toughest jobs out there.
Now, who couldn't relate to that? So I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
she was amazing too. Yeah,
powerful.
she was
I'm
amazing too.
powerful, powerful delivery, you know. All right. Well, I tell you what, um, that's those are the two for me. And I see we got some people who've already joined us here. You got your girl over on the west side. What's up, Kimberly St. Clair? She said, "Good evening, ladies. Checking in from LA. How you doing? How you doing? Good to have you in the house with us. We are talking a little bit about, you know what we're talking about. What's up, Tori? You back with me?
Listen, my internet is interneting. You hear me?
That's okay. You act like you the only one. It happens. I see it happen all the time. Like, do you ever watch any of the I don't know who you watch, but like I watch some of the guys like Don Lemon. You know, he used to be on CNN and now he has his own podcast. He does his own thing. And he uses StreamYard just like we do. I watch how these guys like Mark Lamont Hill. It happens. People are used to it. It's live. There's some things that we just don't have control over, but I mean, we're in the midst of this conversation, so we'll have the conversation. I want to bring one of our first guests in, so I'll bring him on in here. How you doing, Mr. James? I'm gonna go ahead and call you Poet JT. How you feeling, man?
I'm great. How y'all doing? It's good to be on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, as you know, we're here talking out Tuesday, and a lot of times we just get in here, and typically we have different subjects that we talk about. But right now we're in this political season, so shouldn't we be talking about politics?
Of course. Of
Right.
course.
Talk to the people. Let the people know who you are. How long? Go ahead, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about your work, your poetry. How long you've been writing. Let the people know.
Been blessed. For the better part of 8 years now, Poet JT was birthed 8 years ago. I have a book that I released back in 2021. Went #1 in African American poetry on Amazon. And I have 7 singles out in the atmosphere that's out here, including I Win, Freedom Reigns, and the newest one, The Crossover, out on all digital platforms. I'm blessed to have a radio station as well, Big Woo Radio, created, internet based. So I've been blessed. God has opened all kind of doors for me. I live in what we call favor, and the faith of a mustard seed is a real thing.
Oh yeah, man, for sure, for sure. That's what I like about artists and poets, because we are the heartbeat of what's going on in the community, and you definitely doing a lot of work out here, man. So I want you to tell me this: how important do you think it is as an artist to talk about your politics, or do you feel like artists should talk about their politics? Because a lot of times we'll see, as it relates to actors and perhaps athletes, a lot of times we get people who want to say, you know what, just dribble the ball, just make the movie. They don't want people to have their opinion as it relates to what's going on in the community, what's going on in the world. What is your thought with that as it relates to specifically poets?
Well, let me give you an example of it. I think Coach Steve Kerr put it best last night. Night, night, Mr. Orange Man is coming. Bedtime is coming for you. Freedom of speech is everything. I think my pen bleeds thoughts, and it comes from the heart. It comes from the spirit. It comes from a real place. I believe that freedom of speech is one of the best things that was ever gifted to anyone that writes in the creative space, anybody that creates. But your realest, authentic, original moments in his life is when you're speaking of something that comes from thought and comes from heart. Um, you know, Elevated opinions, but factual when you have walked and stepped those journeys, when you can speak on the things that you advocate for, and when you put it out there in the creative space, it hits different. And I tell anybody that when it comes and you know that you walk there different, you can speak different, you walk different, your actions are different when you have walked those journeys. So freedom of speech and being able to talk about politics is just another layer of it, because to me, we all are entitled to our opinions. The thing that where it pertains to that is I can respect that you have an opinion, and I want that same respect from you. If I give the respect, then I expect the respect back. And even if you don't give the respect back, guess what? We still even, because I can. What did Michelle Obama say? You go low, I'm gonna go high. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna put that in spin cycle, and you're gonna get it in a remix later on tonight in day 2.
Yeah, man. In fact, the Obamas are going to be on tonight, so that's going to be really interesting. I know a lot of people will probably be tuning in for that. Well, listen, like I said, I hear where your politics is. Do you feel like artists? I feel like you answered that question in a personal sense, but do you feel like artists can hold it, or feel like they don't want to reveal their particular politics? How do you feel about artists who feel that way, who don't come out in any type of way? They don't want people to know what side they're on.
I think it's a matter of choice, which is a big issue in this political arena. The art of having that choice. And I would encourage anybody, it's your prerogative to reveal whether you reveal what side you want, or whether you want to stand on business and say, hey, I stand for this, I believe in this, I endorse this. I respect both sides of it, because I get, what that could be about. Maybe you don't want it to be public opinion. Maybe you don't want it out there like that. I get that too. But for those that are a little bit more outspoken and outgoing about that, to me, I salute you, because, it takes another layer of courage and boldness to, be all the way out there and be transparent and not be, boxed in. I don't want to be boxed in. Let me go hard in the paint and make my shot and show you why, what I stand on.
Respect. I tell you what, right now, things are a little refreshing for me. Not so long ago, like literally less than a month ago, I gotta be honest, man, I was under a lot of stress because I couldn't figure out like where we were going politically in terms of what options we had. And it just didn't look good, and now everybody seems to, their spirits are lifted. Like you could feel the energy like radiating in the room. You could literally feel that through the television last night at the DNC. And even before then, I feel like, the past few weeks, Kamala Harris, and she selected Tim Walz as her running mate. They have really given people a sense of joy, a sense of feel good. You don't have to feel like, for the longest time, people were like, well, we got a choice between two evils. And perhaps there's some people who still feel that way, to be honest. But I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like we have an option. How do you feel about a woman being the head of the ticket?
I think for me, there's certain things that my grandmother spoke about, and she lived to leave 95 years old. Wow. There are things that she spoke about that she never thought that she would see in her lifetime. And she said, I may not see it in mine, but you'll see it in yours. My father, God rest his soul, lived to see a black president, lived in a time where you couldn't drink from a water fountain in the front of a building, yet come in the front of a building. So to be able to live and see in these times that my ancestors fought, slaved, bled, and sacrificed for, it's a beautiful picture to watch. So for me, I don't see it as anything but elevation and evolving, because we're seeing in times that I'm not walking in fear of seeing that. I'm seeing the evolution of something that what one race or one set of people may be scared of, I'm embracing fully, because if you look at the grand scheme of things, everything happens the way that it's supposed to happen. And unfortunately, there are people that had to go through stuff for us to be able to have the right to vote and for us to be able to stand in political office. So now I can look at my kids and I can look at my granddaughter and I can say, hey, you know what? You can be president, either male or female. So it's no longer the logic of just because of the color of my skin, you can't go but so far. No, we got people that are setting the example and showing you that you can be president. You can do anything in this life that you want to do. And that is the most beautiful thing about this. Yep, we had some people come before that had to fail first to set the stage for what we're looking at now. And look at it now.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know what? They scared of us uniting and one. They ain't want to see that.
At
but
all.
You're seeing it now. And that's the shift in the atmosphere.
I agree. Tori, you know, we talked a little bit about last week. We just had a little conversation about Tim Walz. How are you feeling a little bit now that you're paying attention a little bit more? You watched a little bit of the DNC. What do you think? And you can answer after this, JT, but what do you feel like JT has added to the ticket? Is there anything valuable that you feel with him being a part of it?
I think he's added a lot to the ticket, to be honest with you. And like you said, the energy, it's just, I don't know. I'm like you, Tanya. I was like discouraged. That's why I wasn't watching anything. And then the of course the some of the viral videos with that went viral. I just wasn't energized, but I think he had a lot to it. And I think he is actually I think they're gonna make an amazing team. There's so much that was said last night. I just how you just take in the moment, but I think he adds a lot to the momentum of what's going on around the country. It's just, I don't know. I'm lost for words, to be honest with you. And that was just day one.
Right.
That was day one.
I get it.
He is just, I don't know. He's just bold
and likable.
And yeah, I love bold. I'm loving it. He's very bold, and I think they're going to make an amazing team. So I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to the first woman president, and I'm looking forward to him being the vice president. I think it's going to be an amazing thing, and I'm just looking forward to the future. Like I said, I wasn't energized at all because I wasn't watching. I wasn't paying attention, but I'm paying attention now. Kimberly says, my grandmother was still working the polls when Obama was first elected, and I worked the polls in South Carolina, LA, when he was elected in the second term. That feeling was honestly the last time I was at all excited about politics. I remember cars blowing their horns all over Los Angeles. It was very special. And that's how I was, Kimberly. Like during the Obama era, there was so much excitement. And then for him to be the first African-American president, and he did 2 terms, there was so much excitement. Now, what I hate I missed out on is I hate that I did not go to the inauguration because I was like, if he do a second term, I want to be to the second inauguration, but I didn't make it. I didn't make it to the second one, but that's the only thing that I regret that I didn't go. But that's how it feels now. It's that same type of energy. Because like I said, I wasn't enthused at all. I was just like, of course I'm gonna vote, but I wasn't excited about it. Now I'm excited about it. So
I got you. JT, what do you feel Tim Walz bring in your eyesight, like from a male perspective, and particularly as a Black male perspective?
When I heard the selection, I was like, you know what? Strategy is everything. And the first thing I thought about, you got to have the perfect, if you're going to run and you're going to tag with somebody, you got to have the perfect tag team partner. And when I felt like she picked the perfect tag team partner for the moment. So I'm a wrestling fan. So I was like, man, it's WrestleMania all over again. We finna go hard. And we got the best tag team, on that side to match up against the villains. And so when I looked at it, I was like, yep, there you go. So now you ain't got to worry about it. Whatever she lacks, he makes up for. And that's what I looked at. I'm like, you know what? I can't wait for these debates because one-on-one, it's like, oh, yeah, I can handle him. Now you go handle him. And I'm like, yep, I'm finna watch the TKO, the knockout punch. We finna see Mike Tyson 91 seconds reinvented because what you don't want is to tap a debate with an intelligent woman who you keep calling dumb. And who you keep saying is unintelligent. And what you don't want is to poke the bear of somebody that you challenging his military service and his service to his country and his belief in the oaths that he's taking. You don't want to challenge that because now you're bringing out the passion and you're bringing out, all that pride. and then you're going to bring facts, and we're going to come back and say, okay, well, the one thing I don't have is I'm not 34 charges in with, 40 more to go. And I'm not sitting over here making a whole bunch of weird comments about women and their choices in their body, yet I have a family that's mixed.
Right.
Now, come on, somebody. Let me be factual. If I'm going to stand on something, let me stand all the way on something.
Right.
Let me not be just halfway
You're
in.
right. I got to tell you something. For me, I felt like Kamala had some very good choices. I really didn't feel she could make a bad choice from, the list of candidates that she had available to her. But I absolutely do think that she made the best choice. She couldn't have made a bad one, but I feel like she made the best one. Because for me, he's so many things. I'd like to, from what I am getting to know and from what I'm observing, he's like, number one, he cares, as a coach, as a teacher, as a man, like a manly man who happens to be a coach, who happens to also be able to do that and still be one of the advisors as an alliance between, for the LGBT plus community at the school, to be able to do that and still, be the football coach, display a different type of masculinity that is not toxic, that is not hateful, that is not hurtful. That means a lot. Just the unity that he could bring for young people, that touched me in a lot of ways, because it doesn't take away from it. It doesn't take away from your manhood to respect and appreciate someone who has different views from you. So I like that. And he's done so many things as it relates to caring for young people, making sure that, the kids got free lunch, and it's across the board, so that no kid feels less than, because we know that young people need to be able to eat. How are we going to educate them? How are they going to sit in classrooms if they're hungry? You can't learn when you're hungry. And I think, that we all know that you can't do anything when you're hungry. Right. And so that's just a few things that I immediately like about him, Definitely. Is there anything else that sticks out for you in this race as it relates to Tim Walz?
It's
I
okay.
think-
JT.
Either one.
Oh, go ahead, JT.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I think it's going to encourage our young voters to come out. That gap in the generation that we wasn't reaching 4 weeks ago is a whole generation that we can reach in, as far as encouraging and register to vote, get out and vote. And I think we got so many young people that just want to be a part of something and want to feel like they have an impact. Now you have the opportunity to do that, because you have a team, an energy, a vibe that is for you, that is listening to you, not just looking at you and looking at you like you a number, but they're coming in fresh. And you got, like you made the point about being a teacher or coach, there's nurturing, there's love, there's support, there's knowing how to handle different situations, not just looking at them one way, but looking at multiple options and looking at resolutions, and not just stuff on paper. But let me see how we can reach out and help your community, reach in our communities and help our hungry, help our homeless. The battles and stuff, that the made up stuff that's been talked about. Now you have a team that can come in and continue the momentum and build on the things that need to be done with an enthusiasm that we haven't seen, in years. I remember
in a long time.
Yeah, I remember. Got to dust it off a little bit, but I remember it.
But I tell you what, let me say this, because we're going to get through this week. We're going to get through this DNC, and it's much like a party, So we're going to get through this. Everybody's feeling lifted. Everybody's feeling the joy. But at some point, people are going to have to start paying attention to the policies.
Yeah.
Because that is why we want people in office. So while I am enjoying all of these good feels And I want that because I want to feel good. I want to know, or at least fool me. See, Trump is not even trying to make it seem like he care about people. He's just playing in our face. He's, he's telling you, he's saying whatever he wants to say. He's talking to people all kind of ways out the side of his neck. I'm not for that. Who wants people to talk to them that way? Who wants to deal with someone who's talking to people that way? And also, to me, I find it quite embarrassing. I mean, how do we look out here to the rest of the world? I feel like we look absolutely ridiculous putting him in office again when he really was never qualified to be in office. However that happened, it happened. We survived it. But for us to do that again, I don't see how we could look at ourselves and feel proud to be American if we do that. I just feel like the Republican Party, I don't see them anymore. Even when, if there was a candidate who happened to be, to the right or to the left, wherever you are, progressive, and you're in the center, I never felt like what I feel when I look over to the right with this MAGA group. I don't see, and I wish that Republicans would come to their senses, or just stand on some principle and say, hey, this guy's taking it too far. We didn't think he would go that far. Because I got to tell you this, although I didn't think he would win, I wasn't fearful, and then when he did win, I did not think that he would be so utterly ridiculous. I really did not think that. I'm just flabbergasted, to say the very least. So in my mind, I just wish that the Republicans would say, hey, we can't do this. This is not working for the country. This is not for the betterment of most of the people. We've seen Project 2025. They're telling you all of the stuff out loud. They're telling you what they want to do. What do you know about Project 2025? Tori, you kind of quiet. You on mute.
My bad. Project 2025 is feeling like I haven't had a chance to read all of it, but based on what I've read,
No
it's
one
setting
has. That's a lot of stuff.
yeah,
But
it's
just
just
some of the
it's
highlights.
just setting us back, and it's like a dictatorship type thing. It's crazy. Stuff I've been reading, I'm like crazy. It's crazy.
It is. It is. JT, chime in a little bit on this.
Well, for one, I've never. I'm gonna give you something. I've never experienced a headache in my life. This Project 2025 made me think about having a headache, and it's one of those things that just no part of it makes you feel like American, prideful. We're moving in the right direction. I'll take a step in saying, oh, we want to change the curriculum to there were no slaves that existed. We want to call them endangered servants. Like, you don't even want our kids to understand the real factual history of what our ancestors went through. You want to take this totally out of our schools because you don't want your kids to be, to know that there was wrong in history. And then some of this other stuff that's in there that makes no sense to me. Those laws, and I think Kendrick Lamar said it for us, they not like us, so they don't understand us. This ain't for us. And nothing about that screams, oh, this is America, and this is for everyone. No, it's not. It's for a few cripple-minded people that don't get it and need to get it and be knocked out for it. So again, if you have knowledge, if you have mind, God gave you a brain, use common sense and cast your vote for what's for everyone.
Yeah,
and what's going to work out in the grand scheme of things, and not what's just for the select few or those that have a few zeros behind their name.
And that's the thing. It's almost like, okay, we don't care about anybody except people who are exactly like us, people of privilege. It continues to push privilege. And listen, we've got to look out for young people. We've got to offer them an opportunity. We've got to look out for people who are economically challenged, because that's what America is about. That's a part of that dream. Even if you don't have it all, you still know that if you work an honest day work, and you can find a way. But it doesn't seem like that anymore. And if we allow this particular politic to continue in this country, it's just going to be the have and the have-nots. And we're looking at it, in terms of what's happening. It's trickling down. If you look at what's happening in our school districts, locally, statewide, we've got to look at a little bit more than just what is going on with the national election, and we've got to pay attention to these elections locally, because this administration is going to need help. So whatever we can do to flip some seats in the House and the Senate, we've got to make sure that we do that as well. We cannot give them an opportunity to continue to stack these courts. The Supreme Court is not. What is the Supreme Court right now, man? What is that?
It's not what it's supposed to be.
It's not what it's supposed to be, and that is an understatement. We used to be able to have faith and know that they would make they would go by the law. And it's like the Supreme Court doesn't even care about us. We can't have it, man. So, all right. Tori's, you said you took a few little notes. So give me a little something that stuck out with you from watching the DNC last night.
Well, the top two people that stuck out to me was, of course, we talked about Jasmine Crockett and Sean Fain, which was he stuck out to me as well. And then he quoted Nelly to me, "It's getting hot in here." When he took off his jacket, he had "Trump is a scam." And then I think that Hillary did well. I enjoyed what Jill, First Lady Jill said. Now, one that was really near and dear to my heart was her name was Hadley Duvall, because I could relate to her. She talked about her experience of being raped by her stepfather, and she, of course, want to, because Kamala's supposed to restore the rights for abortion. Because we touched on this last week. That was one of the things that we definitely, because we talk about situations like that. When that arises, you have to have that right. When situations like that occur, you have to have that right, because when things like that happen in her situation, and it was sad to hear that she was 12 years old when that happened to her, and she had a miscarriage. But what if she didn't have that miscarriage, and you are forced, with the way the laws are, you're forced to have a child when, something like that happens. I think that is a bad situation to be in if that happens to you and you're forced to have that child. What do you like?
Absolutely. There's so many details,
Yeah.
and different situations, but absolutely, no male, no law should be able to tell a woman what she should be able to do with her body, because number one, that I just, and we said this last time as well, and we can always have this conversation, because there'll be new listeners, and this conversation needs to penetrate as much as it can. That's not a decision that someone is just easily make.
Right.
That's not a decision that someone really wants to make, but you should have that you should have that right.
Right.
You should have it. So definitely we need to do this. I see we got Tabitha in here.
And talking with Tabitha says, you can't erase US from our history.
You can't
Erase
erase us.
I'm sorry, erase us.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's okay.
Erase us from our history.
And that is happening. And I tell you what, that happens with, banning books, what they're doing in the school districts, and that has a lot to do with your local politics. So that's why, we have to let people know that it is important that you pay attention to your state and local candidates as well. You need to know You need to vote for them. You need to put some priority there. If you don't like what's going on in your school district, well, the same way that they're in there, get some people who are going to run, who are going to represent a greater body of people, who's going
Right.
to represent more fairness, who's
Right.
not looking to represent just a privilege, because a lot of these things are happening where there are districts that are, giving school vouchers, and who's really benefiting from that?
Right.
People who already are going to, their kids are already going to private schools, and they could pay the rest of the tuition, they could get to the private schools. But how does this work for kids who live in rural areas, because they don't have private schools? And
Mm-hmm.
how, even if they had the rest of the tuition to make up for the, based on the difference between the voucher and whatever the tuition is, how are they getting there?
Right.
I mean, there's so many things that we're not thinking about, and it's so incredibly selfish when we have these people are already paying for their kids to go to private school. And if that's what you want to do, that is fine. But basically, the public school is being destroyed by this. And I don't know if people are looking at it that way. I feel like people should have a choice of where they want their kids to go to school. I don't have a problem with that. But we got to look at it in a broader sense of, how does this affect public schools, and how does this affect rural students? And I don't know that people are looking at that, and they should. What is your
Right.
thought on some of that, JT?
Well, first of all, Miss Tabitha is an elected official in her city, and she's a great representation of why you need to have good people in position to
Mhm.
make decisions that are going to advocate and look out for your children and
Right.
for the people in your city. Local elections matter, period. It ain't just in DC. You have to look at the local level. The local and the state level is the foundation of everything that happens in this country. By the time it gets to DC, it's already formulated and done. It's just passed on through the agenda. So, the things that you're talking about, Tanya, is real. Just like you got a choice to send your kids to whatever school you want to send them to, private or public. There's the thing about choice is a real thing. How you gonna tell me it's okay for me to choose where my child goes? You gonna tell a woman what to do with their body? Me as a man don't even feel nowhere near to have the right to tell them what to do with her body. I believe in the choice, because what a woman is born to do is way above my level as a male. And I give mad respect to every woman, because you were created to birth and give life and do those things. And the other thing to this is, we're putting people in situations of, and last time I checked, post traumatic stress is real. Mental health is real. Depression is real. And so we can't dumb those things down, because it can come on before you even realize it. So why we even put people in position to feel that type pressure by not giving them the choice to make? It
Yeah.
makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. Well, I asked Tori, uh, what were some of her takeaways from day one at the DNC? Some things that kind of touched her. I know, I'm not sure if you heard. I like Jasmine Crockett. I felt like she was very authentic. I mean, she's a really great young leader. I'm looking to see what she does in the future, as well as AOC. Um, but what about you? What stood out for you on day one?
Two things. James Claiborne. I'm a resident of South Carolina.
Mhm.
And God, first and foremost, you don't look 84. You know, politics has not had you age. If nothing, it's giving you more wisdom. And you're one of the most influential and impactful people. And I appreciated what he said last night in his speech. It stood out to me, because you're not trying to talk down. You're uplifting a system that you see where the atmosphere changed, and you're part of that change. That was big for me. And also Jill Biden, and I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
Nothing is bigger than the support of your spouse, the support of the person you with. I felt it in her speech, and it was reciprocated when Joe came up. He reciprocated that, being appreciative of that support, but also giving back that love and support, and just basically letting her know, without you, none of this is really happening. And
Mhm.
without our faith in God, this journey ain't even real.
Gotcha. What you talking about, that support, it just kind of triggered a thought for me of something else that I wanted to speak on. What I like about Tim Walz, like, he's supportive. Like, it doesn't bother him, like, it doesn't take away from his manhood that he is supporting a woman. Like, he knows that he's on her team, and he pretty much said that, He's doing what he does, he's bringing what he brings, you know, but he's saying like, "Hey, but I'm on her team." And a lot of the times, you don't get that. So you're right. And that's in a relationship that you were talking about as it relates to President Biden and Jill Biden. But to see Tim Walz just say, "Hey, I'm standing behind this lady. I support this lady. I've got her back." Like, he shows me that he has her back. And I love to see it. And I hope that young men will be able to look at that and to be able to know that, okay, yes, I can be a man and still be led by a woman. Because listen, most of you are raised by a woman. Your mother has told you what to do at some point in your life if you had an opportunity to grow up with her. Your mother, a teacher, a mentor, there has been a woman in your life who has guided you, and you've had to take that guidance, and it does not take away from your masculinity or your manhood. I feel like, to me, he looks like more of a man. He's the type of man that I feel like young men need to see.
I agree.
All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Y'all did that in unison. But yeah, I mean, because listen, if you've been in these internet streets for the past, I don't know how many years, we've got these bros, and they've got this thing where it's men versus women, and I'm so tired of it. It's like I'm sick of it. And I often wonder, like, where they're gonna go with this. But Tim Walz, he's just standing up and he's doing what he has to do. He's being who he is, and he's like, "Hey, I'm supporting this woman,
Mhm.
and y'all need to get behind this and do it too." I love it. I love to see it.
Right.
Mhm.
And I meant to mention also, I can't recall his name, but he is the coach. I think he's Steph Curry's coach.
You talking
Steve
about Kerr, Steve
Kerr.
Kerr.
He
Mhm.
said at the end, he quoted Steph Curry, so we're gonna tell Donald Trump night night.
Yeah, JT did a little bit of that.
Oh,
Like,
perfect.
but you know what? Seriously, Trump needs to rest. He
Mhm.
does. He's going through. He's done a lot. He's done a lot of BS. He's done a lot. He's going through a lot. He need to rest. He need to sit it on down. He is old. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but he looked like he's slipping a little bit cognitively. I don't know what's going on in this man's mind. I can't diagnose him. I'm not a doctor. But everything's not right with him. He need to sit it on down. So if losing this election is going to make him sit on down, he need to sit on down. Maybe he should have sat on down and did a little something like Biden, because he's not good for the party. He's not good for their party at all, you know? But do you guys see him slipping a little bit, or do you just feel like he's just, I don't know. I think I see him slipping a little bit cognitively. Now, I know he does and says some really crazy things. I'm not taking away from that, right? That is a lot of who he is as well, and he's chosen to be that way. But do you guys see something going on with him, or is it just me?
I don't think it's just you, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Tanya. I'm not even paying him any attention, to be honest with you. And I'm just like, listen, because I even saw a clip earlier, some of the stuff that he's saying, like you said, he speaks crazy. So honestly, I'm not giving him any attention, to be honest with you. But I did, but
Your audio went out.
like, why? Something crazy like that. So I don't even give him any of my energy at all. I don't pay him
Well,
any attention.
you
If I
know,
see him come on, I turn it off. So I'm not even watching closely like you. See, like you
I
said
don't.
that you watch. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's going in and out, but go ahead.
Um, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought.
You said like me that like I think you were about to say how I watch both sides. I
Oh
re-
yeah, I was gonna say you said that you watch the Republican as well.
Mhm.
I'm being honest, I don't do that. I just
I
watch.
do.
Yeah, I don't.
I
I don't give
do.
them any energy at all.
Well, for me,
I think it's fair to do that, but I'm be honest, I don't.
I feel like I have to
Yeah.
because I'm not voting for a person based upon whether they are Republican or Democrat. I really want to know what type of person they are. And ultimately, I need to know what their policies are gonna be. When it really comes down to it, it is that, but I still need to feel that person. I feel like they have to have some character. A person of character. Trump doesn't give me that, right?
Mhm.
Harris gives me that. Walls give me that. Like character. They're bringing character back to the presidency. Like to me, Trump really devalued the office of the presidency. Like, okay, well, anybody can be the president. You don't have to have uh, any knowledge. You don't have to know what you're doing. You don't have to have manners. You don't have to like people. He just took everything away from the prestige of what holding the office of the presidency was really all about, because this is the United States of America, a very powerful country. Almost, being a leader in the United States is like being a world leader. And look at who we had in that seat. It's
Mhm.
ridiculous. That's why I feel like we can't do that again. But like I said, I still have to pay attention to what's going on, because politics isn't really about one side, and it's never going to be. I think it has to be, balanced. There has to be some fairness here. I like to do what is fair for the people. And that is what I like about Harris's campaign. She's, she's for the people, you know, not for a particular part of the people, not for a particular class of people, not for a particular race or for a particular um, religious background of people. We must have that freedom to be whatever religion you want to be. We come from vastly different backgrounds. That is why America is America. So how we got into this whole thing, I really don't like it. You know, this privilege of religion, this privilege of race. No, we don't need that. But again, I pay attention to all sides, because let me see who's got some policies. Who's being for more than themselves, more than their friends, you know? All right, guys. We're gonna have to wrap it up here. We've got a few more minutes. Are there JT, are there any poetry events or any thing you've got coming up next? Any place you're gonna be that you want to let people know about? What you got going on the poetry side of things?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate you having me on. This has been an honor and a privilege. Um, this Saturday, will be in York, South Carolina for Summerfest, hosting the all day 42nd year of this event. And I'm hosting for the 5th year in a row. 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. I'll be there all day long. Come catch me hosting. I'll be with my guy, DJ MTB. We're going to have a great time. September the 2nd online. Catch me in City World Media magazine, the launch of the magazine. I'm gracing the cover and I have the feature. Learn a little bit of stuff that you don't know about me. Catch the online event September the 2nd at midnight, the launch is. And then September the 6th, I'll be in Lancaster, South Carolina, Southern Dish 101. Come down for our poetry night. It's going to be dope from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Going to have a great time. DJ, live poetry, and just fellowship in the mix. And again, go catch the crossover out on all digital platforms, on the Poet JT, on Facebook. And I'm just, again, we were born and birthed with a creative something in our spirit. You got to birth that out and allow it to create in a space for the masses to be able to receive that message.
Yeah, man.
That's good.
All right. Well, thank you for coming through. Very different thing. Talk about Tuesday. We just have a conversation. So we had one.
Right. JT,
So-
please get that information to me or Tanya so we can actually promote, especially the one online. I definitely want to make sure I tune in to that online event.
Yeah,
So
type it in the chat.
Yeah.
I do that. I got you.
All right, Tori. We did it again. We did it again. Another Tuesday, another conversation in a short, like in maybe about an hour. You know, I'll be back in front of the tube watching day 2 of the DNC. We'll see what Obama got to say. Well, you know, we already know Mr. Cool gonna come out. Mr. Cool, the orator. He's gonna speak well.
And what was so crazy, I was telling my son, what is so crazy? I had a dream about Obama last night. I had a dream. I had a whole conversation with Obama. And I was like, what is it all about? But yeah, I had a whole conversation. I was just talking about the excitement. I was telling him, like, my son was a little kid when he was running for office. My son was like 2 or 3 years old. He's like, I'm voting for Obama. Like, boy, you can't even vote. But it was just, we just had a whole conversation, and it just, I don't know, the dream just seemed so real. So
now,
I
but
was excited.
Hear this. Interesting you say that, because my son was, I can't remember his age right now, maybe 6, 7ish. He had to be about 7, because what year was that he ran the first time? 08?
2008, right?
Okay, so my son was 6, 7 years old, right? And he actually met Obama when he came to Florence, and he was so vested into voting for Obama. He was so politically motivated, and you know, he was getting in trouble at school because he on the playground telling kids that they had to vote for Obama. If they said they were voting for somebody else, he was getting mad. Serious. I had to have a talk with my son, like, son, people get to choose who they want to vote for. You can't be upset. But he did a school project on Obama. He did all, you know, he did all his little research and did his project, and he drew a picture of Obama, and he said he wanted to give it to him. So when Obama was coming to Florence, I didn't even know. My son knew because he was watching like a lot of the stuff, you know, with his dad. And so he knew he was coming to town. And I was like, oh man, I was like, there's gonna be so many people out there. And he just wanted to go so bad. My daughter had a dance recital that same night that was at the mall. Obama was going to be at the Civic Center. So I was like, okay, how am I gonna, you know, make both of these things? But I gotta make this whole thing work. So I got my mom to take my daughter to the recital. I'm like, okay, I gotta go over here with my son to see Obama because he had to go. Long story short, let me tell you something. Obama was so personal with my son. Like, everybody was just and my son drew the picture of it, and he gave it to Obama. And he told Obama, he's like, here, he said, I want you to have this. He said, I really want you to have this. He said, because you can really win and you can be the president. He said, I believe in you. Like I'm cracking all up on the inside. Everybody's trying to get to this man. Everybody's, they want to get their pictures. He is like not paying anyone attention. It is like he is laser focused on what Ishmael is telling him. And they having this whole conversation. And I mean, not a small amount of time now. I mean, like literally taking time with him. And so he was like, nah, man. This is Obama. He's like, nah, man. He said, I can't keep this, man. He said, I got to get this back to you. He said, I'm going to sign it. He said, I got to get this back to you. And so Obama looked at his project because my son took his project. He took the picture that he drew for him. This boy was serious. And actually, my son was in newspapers like all over the United States because the AP had took a picture of him holding up a sign of Obama, and everybody just thought it was so cute to see this little boy, at the rally holding up this sign. He was in so many different newspapers, but he took up so much time with him. He was like, man, you did all of this work. He's like, whoa. The grade was on it. He was like, and you got an A. He said, you're smart. He said, you keep it up, man. He said, I'm expecting some big things from you in the future. So he sold me right there. Now, I'm not saying I wasn't sold. I just didn't want to go to the rally because,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go fight the crowd or anything like that. I had already, I was listening to him. I'm like, yeah, I could get this guy an opportunity, a chance. He could get my vote. And I'm glad I went because it showed me that he at least cared about people, or at least he cared about kids. So
Right.
yeah, that's my Obama story. My
That
son's Obama story.
that was a phenomenal story. I'm glad you took him.
Yeah, I'm glad.
That's an
I'm
experience
glad I
you'll
took
never
him too.
forget.
I'm glad I took him too, cause girl, he wasn't gonna let that thing go. He was so serious. He
And
had his
we were there as well. And I had my son, because like my son was like 2 or 3. So I
Mhm.
had him on my shoulders. I had him
Oh,
on my shoulders. There were so
wow.
many people. Yeah, yeah. He was
Well,
like, "Come on, big
luckily
mama."
luckily, I didn't have to have him on my shoulders because we were actually right up front.
Yeah, see, there were so many people. We weren't that close, but so I had to put him on my shoulders. But like I said, he was like 2 or 3. So
And, and see, they need to understand those experiences. People who do not get their young people involved in the process, get them involved. Let them
yeah,
know how important it is. Take them with you when you go vote. Take them with you. Let them see what's going on. Let them stand in the line. Give them your sticker. All of those
absolutely.
things are important.
Absolutely. And do you by chance know the deadline for those that are not registered voters? Do you know by chance know
Yeah,
the
you
deadline?
got 30 days before
Okay.
election day. So
So
that'd
that's what
be
October.
October 5th or 6th or something like that.
Okay. So make
Do
sure
the
you guys, because I know that there are some kids that just celebrated their 18th birthday. So make sure you get those young people registered, because my son will be voting. Of course, this will be first time voting in the presidential election, and
Mhm.
he's actually excited about it. So I just want to make sure the young people that just had birthdays to turn 18, make sure you are a registered
Yeah.
voter. And then
'Cause
those that are
they can go ahead and register if they're gonna turn 18 before the first week of October. Go ahead and register. So
yes,
even
yes,
if it's in September, go on ahead and register. If your birthday in September and you're gonna turn 18, go
yeah.
right on to your election office and make sure
Mhm.
that you register to vote. You
Right.
have a
Because
voice. Use it.
even if your birthday in October, make sure you're registered, because that's what happened to my son for the primary.
That
His
first
birthday is
week.
not primary.
That first week of October though, not after.
No, no, yeah, yeah. Make sure it's like
Right.
third. But I'm saying, like, as long as they vote, I mean, as long as they register 30 days prior. Like I'm saying, his birthday wasn't until October the 26th, but he
Mhm.
registered that first part of October, and he was able to vote in the primaries. So
Great.
as long as they're registered, yeah.
It's listen, it's very easy. Everybody has these things right here in their hands. We call them phones, but they're really like mini computers,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can Google whatever state you in.
Mhm.
Like for us, it's South Carolina vote. Okay. Look it up wherever you are.
Yeah.
Find out. It's not difficult. Don't make it difficult. It's easy.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you can register online. A lot of, step into the technology. So we've been in here over an hour. I think it's been a good conversation.
It has been.
Mhm.
And thank you to JT for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah. And maybe we'll get Anthony Hall in next time. I don't know what happened with Anthony, I don't know what happened, but I tell you what, next week we are going to have Kelly R. Williams in the house with us, as well as Isaac Wilson. So they'll be here. That's Tuesday, August 27th, 7 p.m. right here on Talk It Out Tuesday with Tori. I might be here. I don't know.
You gonna be here. Because you running the show. You gonna be here.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all. Have a great evening. Peace out.
One love.